Hello, I'm Jeanette at Rustic, and today I'm chatting with Jonah Gross, who went to Peru last summer. And he's an amazing photographer, and he's going to give us some travel photography tips and tell us a little bit more about his experience abroad. Hello, Jonah.
Hi,
How are you?
good. How are you?
Awesome. I'm doing well. So happy to chat with you. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself, especially how you got into photography?
Ever since I've been young, my family we're big travelers. We've taken a lot of cool trips like within the United States and around the world. And on all of our trips, my mom had always had like brought a nice camera and had always taken a lot of pictures, sometimes a little more than we would have liked. And then as my brothers and I have grown up, we've just started on all of our trips. We all wanted to like use the camera and just capture everything that we're seeing. So yeah, that's the main way I got into photography is just on all of those trips. There's so many cool things that I've seen and from my mom and brothers and I've just had such a strong desire to take all these pictures. We can remember the moments. Something that we do is after every trip we make a photo book with all the pictures we've taken. So it's just a way to remember all the cool experiences that we have on these amazing trips.
So, this past summer, you went on the Sacred Valley service trip to Peru. Is that right?
That is correct.
And let's jump into talking about your gear. What kind of camera and lens do you have?
So I have a Canon T7i, and I'm pretty sure the lens is an 18 to 55 millimeter lens, which I think is the default lens that camera comes with. And I don't know, yeah, I'm more of like on all these trips I like to take photographs, but I still view myself as more of like an amateur. So I haven't really gotten into these more. Sometimes you see people with like these huge lenses, you're like, I have no idea how to work that, but you can take good pictures without all that crazy gear, just with the default that it comes with. So
You can take some amazing photos, and I wanted to share some of those photos with our audience, and then maybe you can tell us a little bit about what's going on in each of them.
this is actually, I think this might be my favorite picture that I took on the trip. I still am trying to get a print of it to hang up in my room, but it was we're on a hike up to one of the villages that we were staying in called Markurai. It was like a 2 hour, maybe it was a longer hike. It took the whole afternoon. We had our gear carried up by donkeys up the mountain, which is really funny. And I was towards the end of the hike, as we kept going up in elevation, we got a better view of that huge snow-capped mountain that you can see in the background. It just kept coming above the foreground that we saw. And then I don't even know who it was, if it was a local, but out in the distance you could see the silhouette of someone walking. And then I just realized that it was a great moment to capture.
Okay, next one.
So this one I actually took with my phone. This was in the town that we were hiking up to when I took the previous picture, called Markurai, which it's very, very high elevation, pretty remote up in the Andes. And there was like a road that went through the village and then out through the mountains in the distance. So when we got there, the sun was setting, and we were walking along that road, and there were, as you can see in the picture, there were a lot of horses and livestock that the locals had. And it was such like a perfect time of day because the sun was setting and it was reflecting on the mountains behind us, and it sort of lit up the clouds in like an orange.
And the last photo.
This was towards the end of our trip. We went after we'd stayed in the villages on the way back to Cusco, which is like the capital of the area. We stopped in this town called Chinchero, which I think it's very high. It's on a plain that I think is like 14,000 feet up. It's one of the places where they have like the best preserved local traditions, specifically with weaving. And I think it's because it was so high up that when the Spanish came, they didn't really get to the area and destroy a lot of what the locals had done. So they were able to preserve these traditions. So these women still are weaving like they did hundreds of years ago, and that's their way of life, weaving and selling their handicrafts. So we got a demonstration from one of these women. They showed us the whole process, how they spin the alpaca fur into yarn, and then they use all these different combinations of local plants to create the dyes. And like they'll take a combination of two different green plants that will create like a bright orange or bright red dye. So it was crazy to see the whole process. And then how they put it out in that picture. You can see there's probably like 20, I don't even know, dozens and dozens of strings of yarn that they intertwine to create these really, really complex patterns. And it was just such like a colorful moment that it also reflects the culture.
Thank you for sharing that. And I was wondering if you have any tips for newbies picking up a camera for the first time.
A lot of people, I would say, think that photography, you have to have some like you have to be very know all the technical things to take good pictures and know all these advanced features of how to work the camera. And I mean, I know how to use some of them, but not all of them. So my main tip is don't be fazed by all of that. It's really not the main thing to do. And the main thing I do is just always be prepared. Everywhere, when I'm on a trip, everywhere I go, I have a camera around my neck, and just you never know when there's going to be a moment that is worth capturing and will produce such a cool picture. Always be prepared to take a picture. Always have your camera ready. And yeah, it's don't think that it's some inaccessible thing that you can't do. It's really something that everyone can do. I mean, if they have some of the materials are hard to get, but granted that it's something that everyone can do and to be prepared for.
Did you learn anything new on your program, in regards to photography? Maybe not technical stuff, or techniques, but something about yourself as a photographer?
Yeah, probably what I was saying before, that just it further showed me how important it is to always be prepared, and how sometimes it's the little moments that you wouldn't expect that produce the best photos. One of the ones that we looked at of that woman walking across the silhouette, most of the hike we had that cool view in the background, so you could think oh, it's just going to be the same thing. But I realized that you need to always be prepared, and you never know what moment is going to produce what picture, and never think that no moment should be captured, and just try to capture every moment, because they all have value in different ways.
Well, thank you so much for chatting with us. It was really great to hear from you.
Thank you for having me.
If you'd like to do some travel photography in Peru or any of the other countries we visit, then grab your lens and check out our student travel programs in the video description.